We're here at Sarah Galvão, here at Atos. Sarah, you just won Brown Belt Worlds, got your black belt. It's been a crazy past week for you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. I'm happy. After Worlds, especially watching the Worlds finals, I got so much hungrier on like competing and doing my best that as soon as I got home, the first thing I did was go immediately to the first training of the day. I was itching myself to like just become the best version that I can as soon as I can.
I thought it was really interesting. You stuck around for the World's finals, and you were kind of like taking some pictures on the mat after the finals had ended. Can you talk about that experience?
Yeah,
just like being in the pyramid on Sunday for the finals.
It was crazy because I always knew that I would have a chance to make it to the finals, or not make it to the final, but make it to the black belt. And then when I got it, it felt unreal. It still feels unreal. I look at myself in the mirror with the black belt and it feels like, man, what? I can't believe I actually got here. I knew it would come. Now that it's here, it feels like it's a dream, you know. I knew that everyone fights on the mat, but there's something about the black belt mats that like feels like something special comes out of it. You know, like the pyramid is like my Disneyland, where it's like the happiest place on earth. There's something about just being there that gives you good vibes, you know. So I was just like embracing that feeling, stepping on the mat, touching the mat, looking at the mat where like this is where the champions are made, this is where legacies are made, and you know, just taking that in before it's actually my turn.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, I thought we'd step back and talk a little bit about like your start in jiu-jitsu, because we kind of talked about it a little bit already, but you didn't start taking your career like seriously to be a professional athlete until you were about 12.
Right.
I think sometimes people assume that you probably started when you were 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But you were, you know, doing some other things as a kid and really started to take it serious like at 12, which is still very young.
Yeah.
But can you talk about that moment?
Yeah. So my dad says I was his first student. Right. He said he put me like I was 4 when I first got put into the jiu-jitsu class. We had no students, so my dad like put me there to show that, okay, like kids can come, so on. And I don't have much memory of me training from 4 to 8. It's kind of like a blur. I don't remember anything. I remember going to the gym, but like training, learning, nothing. And I stopped when I was 8. My mom said it's because I went to her and I said, like, people are asking me about like if I'm going to follow the same footsteps as my dad and so on. And I remember watching my dad prepare for camps and everything, and it was intense. And I didn't want to do it at all. And at the time, JT Torres was running the kids class, and it was all levels, right? So like from white belt to green belt, we had a big mixture, and he was so intense. He has like that wrestler style in him, right? Yeah. And it was so intense, and I didn't want to do it. So I stopped when I was 8, and I just pursued other things until 12 years old. I decided to go back, and that's where I found a passion for it. It first started off with like, oh, my friends are there, and I was homeschooled, so like the only friends I would make were at the gym, so I was kind of forced to be there. Yeah. And then that's when Kids Pans came around, and that's when I lost for the first time.
Yeah, why don't you talk about some of those early competitions once you got back into it?
Yeah, it's like, it's crazy because I decided to do like the most important kids tournament. Like that was my first tournament. Yeah, that was the first thing I did. And I remember all my friends were going, so I wanted to do it. And then I remember I lost in the finals by like an advantage maybe. And that's when I'm very competitive to begin with. And when I lost, I was so upset. I like didn't even want to wear the medal. I remember I worked pretty hard for it because I was doing privates with like Ronaldo and Andy, Carbolito. Like I was doing a bunch of privates and all of that for like losing by an advantage, you know. And I was just so upset that I decided like, no, this is where it starts. It kind of just lit a fire inside of me. And at the time I had nothing else going on. I was homeschooled, right? I would spend most of my hours were here at the gym, so I would just, you know, hustle, train, do more private lessons. That's when I started doing the adult comm class, seeing what it was like, joining my mom in the women's class, training with actual women, seeing what it's like, feeling a strength of an actual grown woman when I was like 14, you know. So it was good. I think all those like losing was a good lesson, and I think it's brought me to where I am now.
So then you lost your first Kids Pans, but then you won several other editions of it.
Yeah, I think I won 2 more after that. I'm not sure. I can't remember how many Kids Pans I did, but I won the ones after that, and then I remember my last year at Kids Pans was the first time it moved to Florida, and it was during the pandemic, and it was so funny because like the refs were wearing masks and everything, but you could see like all the parents on the outside. Nobody was wearing no mask. They were just yelling. It was just like an eventful time, but it was very special for me because after that I got my blue belt, and then that's when I think everything started to become real, like a reality.
Yeah, and then shortly after that, you transitioned from like the juvenile ranks into the adult ranks.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about that transition?
I always knew it was hard moving from like juvenile to adult, or at least kids to juvenile. That was always hard. But my mom always did a good job like taking me to these small local tournaments and fighting the age above, right? I remember when I was a yellow belt, I fought my first like juvenile blue belt tournament, and I vividly remember like losing the last few seconds, and I was able to take her down. And my mom's always been doing a good job on like taking me out of my comfort zone, putting me in these spots where I can actually learn. When we always like, especially kids, if you're very superior, you're usually gonna always be winning, right? Kids, like, it's hard to find many that are really great. Some are there just to have fun while others are taking it seriously. So my mom would always like put me in the divisions above, even from blue to purple to brown. So I think that helped a lot.
So I'm really interested because you said when you were around like 8, you maybe were starting to feel a little pressure of like, oh, you're André Galvão's and Angelica Galvão's child. Like, you must be this expert in jiu-jitsu already, things like that.
Yeah.
But then you decided to ultimately go down that same path. Like, was there a moment where you felt like you became better at like coping with some of those expectations?
Yeah, there's something about coming back when I was 12 that I like just went in with no pressure at all. I can't say what switched my mind. I think doing the other sports that I did, my dad was always there watching when I had recitals or stuff like that. He was always there. So knowing that, like, oh, no matter where I go or what path I take, my dad is going to be there or my mom is going to be there. So I think going back into jiu-jitsu, knowing that, I knew I was going to be like, okay.
Was there anyone in the gym? I know you mentioned like JT was teaching the kids classes.
Yeah.
There were so many amazing athletes around you all the time.
All the time.
Was there anyone who inspired you in particular that really stands out?
I think Professor Josh Hinger was like the one who molded me into who I am today. He was so much more strict, or less strict than JT, but still very strict. I don't know how he was able to keep up with all the kids he had, but honestly, I think he molded like the girls that came out of there, which was me, Alexa, and Jadea. We are who we are today because of him. I give great credit to him. There's something about like not just discipline, but how he like behaved on the mats. There was something special about like the way he would yell at us, for example. I learned lots of discipline on there, and Professor Josh has like a well-rounded style, I would say. He doesn't do just one thing, so I learned a lot with him. And then I also did many privates with my dad. So many privates. It was kind of hard doing privates with my dad. Not gonna lie, it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't my favorite. He would be like, again, one more time. It was never the last time. It was always more after that. But my mom always did a good job also. Like, I was with Andy, Ronaldo, Mike Carbolito. I did one with a friend who, her name was Crystal. I did one with my mom. So I was always like learning a bit from everybody. So I think that was great.
And then you also had the dream team athletes around you for a lot of like your growing up through the color belts.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that? Like having peers around your same age, around your same level, who all have similar goals, that must have been super helpful as well.
Yeah, it started off for some time. Jadea left for a bit, and it was just me and Alexa. And I remember we would lift like every Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we would do the 9 a.m. class and then go to the comp class. we would lift, and then we would train both kids' class and then train the women's class. So we were very dedicated. We were dedicated, and kids don't tire, you know? So we were going hard. And we started going. Judea came back, so the team got bigger, it got better. And then as we got our blue belts, that's when Emily just like appeared out of nowhere. And I remember I didn't really like Emily because she was like from a different team. And I was like, oh, now she wants to join Autos. That's so weird. But then she was a great addition. You know, everyone just kind of having her there really changed the way she like is so disciplined with herself. You know, she hustles a lot. She works really hard for what she gets. And I think we needed that as like, you know, kids going into the juvenile division. Yeah. It's kind of hard to like, some people don't make it, but I think having her there was a great addition. She kind of like woke us up and be like, okay, this is reality. Like we got to now really work for what we want. And then that's when people just started coming in. The dream team, I would say, only happened when like maybe 2 years ago. I think that's when like we started giving ourselves that name. Yeah. And then I think last year is when people started texting us and being like, we want to join the dream team. And now we are now recognized as the dream team. That's good.
How does the team change the tournament experience? Because you guys are all competing at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Supporting each other. Like you're the loudest voices in the stands for each other, which is pretty awesome. So how does it affect your tournament experience?
Well, back then we were all the same age. Mm-hmm. It was great. We would all fight on the same day, kind of the same time. And I think the most memorable experience is when all 5 of us won Brazilian Nationals. Yeah. That's when Emily won double gold. I think Alexa won double gold. And then me, Jade, and Lillian, we all won gold as well. So it was like a successful day for us. And I think that's when someone posted, they were like, the team of gold. And that doesn't really have a ring to it, you know? And then really. Somehow... someone in the comments, I think, said, oh, they're like the dream team. And it really hit and we liked it, but we would just call it between ourselves, you know, like in the caption, we'd be like, this is the dream team, da 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 da. And then slowly people started catching on, you know, and now look where we're at. Now our team is huge. I don't even know how many girls we have anymore. And people all around the world want to join. So it's great. It's like a big experience.
Yeah, that's incredible. I want to talk about your 2025 season. Double gold at Europeans, double gold at Brasileiro.
Yes.
And then gold in your weight division, Pans and Worlds. Mm-hmm. So really successful year, especially as a lightweight. And we talked to your mom about this just a few moments ago, but I feel like one thing that really stands out about you is like your willingness to not just compete in the open, but like seek out the toughest challenges.
Yeah.
Like you're always looking for the toughest matches that are going to help you grow and help you be a better competitor. Yeah. So can you talk about that mindset?
So, of course, I go into every year thinking I'm going to win double gold in every major tournament. Of course, it's very hard to get there. Being one of the lightest girls there, I think I am one of the lightest that at least make it to the podium. Yeah. And, you know, I never really feared, like, losing. I always went into the open weight for fun, for just to do something, you know. I'm here already, might as well just compete more. And I don't fear losing. I know that the open weight is a challenge. It definitely got more real as I stepped into the brown belt, because I think brown is where you know, some girls are 3 years brown belt. They're very experienced, close to getting their black belt. And I just recently got my brown belt. You know, now all these moves are legal. It's just like a big change from purple to brown. Yeah. And stepping into it was scary. I know I have the chances of losing like I did at Pans and Worlds. But if I gotta lose, then I'm gonna lose, you know. I'm not like, of course I'm upset that I lost, but it doesn't change who I am. I think that people are so used to seeing me winning like double gold that when I lose, people are like shocked. But then people, I think, forget that like I've done multiple matches before coming here. I'm one of the lightest persons here. There's people much bigger, much stronger than me. Of course, it's not going to be like an easy win, you know. So a lot of people like were shocked, especially at Pans and Worlds. And I get it. But I think that people just forget that, like, I'm there just to put on a show, to at least try to put on a show. And, you know, that's what happened at Pans. You know, even losing, I think that was like the match of the month, or at Pans, that was like the most important match with me and Helena, you know. I know a lot of people wanted us to fight, and I get it. And a lot of people were like, oh, I can't believe they're fighting. Like, it's supposed to be a super fight. They both should have been paid to do this and that. But, like, we both had the choice to be there, you know. I always do the open classes. She does it too. We both had the choice to be there. We both did it. And that's what matters. We both put our heart out. We both gave our best. And, you know, we both went out of there, even though, like, me winning and her losing, like, we both got a lot of credit out of it. You know, I think we changed the perspective on women in jiu-jitsu as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you talk a little bit more about that match? Because it wasn't just something that people were looking forward to because of how, like, competitive it was. I just think it was a match that people were anticipating maybe for a long time. So
yeah.
You talk about, like, the reaction that people had to the match and just, like, your expectations going into it.
Yeah, a lot of people were asking for it ever since I got my blue belt, I think. So, like, people have been asking for a long time. And, you know, Helena's, like, she works for what she got. She got all the way to ADCC, you know. She's been fighting, like, adults ever since she was starting to become a juvenile, you know. So I knew stepping into it would be hard. But, like I said, I don't fear losing, you know. If I'm going to fight, I'll give my best no matter what happens. And, you know, stepping into that match, it was interesting because I like switched my mindset to like this is just another day for me, you know, like I'm just gonna go out there and do what I do best. And I went in with like at ease, you know. I was actually happy fighting. I wasn't nervous or like or anything. I felt relieved. It was great. It was a great match. And just stepping into it, knowing a lot of people were watching, you know, knowing a lot of people had high expectations about what was going to happen, was definitely a little hard, because, like, if I lost, people were going to say something. If I won, people were going to say something. And I think ever since it happened, it was good. It was good. For the jiu-jitsu aspect, you know, I think it was, like, one of the most entertaining fights. I think a lot of people started doing the open weight after that as well. Like, we see a lot more girls joining the open weight, not like you don't see just bigger people doing the open weight. Now you see, like, look, Emily does the open weight, you know. And you know, she loses, but she puts on a fight, and that's what, you know, we're here to do. That's what we work for. So just going into the open weight knowing that, like, oh, it's not going to change who I am, really changes the way I fight.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Worlds. You won your weight division. You also competed in the Open.
Yeah.
And then you got your black belt. So
yes.
I'm sure that was an emotional roller coaster.
It was hard.
Walk us through that experience.
It was rough. I did really good in my weight division, going on to the open weight like I usually do, and then got stopped first match. Like I said, I'm not afraid of losing, so I, like, already lost before. It's not my first time. Of course, I never want to lose getting submitted. That's the hardest part. But I was just, like, already upset that I lost. I was like, okay, let's just, you know, wait for everybody to finish so I can go home. I'm ready. And then out of nowhere, well, I was upset. I was crying because I was sad. And then my dad came with the belt, and I was crying because I was happy. So it was like a mix of emotions that I didn't even know how to control. I didn't expect to get my black belt that way. Of course, I assumed maybe, if I got to the podium, I would have gotten promoted. Or if once I won, maybe they would have done something here at home. I definitely wasn't expecting to get it tied in the bullpen. That was new. I've never seen that happen. So it was crazy. A mix of emotions. I think even after losing, getting my black belt just, like, made me remember, like, hey, don't forget, like, who you are, you know, like, sure, you lost, but you're still a world champion. I won in all the belts. I'm still a great athlete. I know I'm capable of doing greater things. You know, I just got stopped because of, like, a little small incident. and that's what happened. But I know that maybe next time I can do better, at least survive longer. But honestly, the black belt helped. It really showed like, okay, now you're here. Now I was like, okay, now you got to stop crying, because now you're a black belt. Now you are like seriously a professional. You've made it to the big leagues. Now I got to start acting like it. And that's why after watching the finals, I was like, okay, this is where it starts. This is where it starts. It starts now. I got home. I immediately started training. That was the first thing I did. And now that's why I'm competing so much. I'll be competing in Japan, and then right after I'm gonna try to compete at American Nationals. You know, do what I gotta do to get my spot in the black belt lightweight.
So you were there watching all the black belt finals on
Yes.
Sunday. Were you paying extra special attention to
Yeah.
the lightweight division, or was it more just like an enjoyable process to watch?
Of course I was paying extra attention because that is my weight division. Also, like, Louisa was there, so she's been helping the girls here out a lot. So of course I love watching her as well. I like watching the weight divisions around it. So like feather, light, and middle is like the divisions I watch, like especially with a closer look, just because I know that maybe one of them can cut down to light or one of them can come up, and it's all kind of similar, right? Like feather and middle I think is like a mixture of light, like that's what makes lightweight. So I was paying extra attention, and you know, just watching it, and like, man, it's 10 minutes, and 10 minutes for some people it looks like a long time, but in the match it's like in a blink of an eye, you know. And I notice how like black belts, anything that happens, they take advantage of it, right? So if they get to any conquering position, usually the match is going to end there. I don't see many black belts like get to the back and somehow magically lose it, you know? Like usually, like once they get to the back, they either end there or they finish, you know? So I noticed how much they conquered those positions, and I took all these details into mind, and when I got home, I was like, okay, once I get to conquering positions, I'm only going to progress from here, or I get to a good position, I'm only going to attack from here. So I now have these mental goals in my head when I'm training that kind of simulate like a black belt final, you know? So I think that helps a lot.
Lightweight's been a really exciting division to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Recently, we've had, of course, Louisa, your teammate, Brianna St. Marie, Jen Aina, the current world champion.
Yeah.
Can you just give me your thoughts on those athletes and how incredible they've been the past few years?
Yeah, they, well, like, Jen Aina's been fighting worlds for a long time. I know Brianna's also, like, she does both gi and no gi. You know, Louisa's been in worlds for a long time. She's been in the jiu-jitsu, just fighting for a long period of time. So just being around all these women that have so much experience is really crazy to me, because now I got my black and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just like the rookie here. You know, everyone's had all these experience, but that really makes me hungrier and like it craves more, and I want to work harder. You know, I want to work harder every step of the way, knowing that they're already a few years ahead of me. So I got to catch up with the time I got, you know. So I'm working my best every day. Those girls are definitely great athletes, but I think I'm different than most lightweights. I think that I just have a different style or a different mentality when I'm fighting. I don't go into fights like fearing anything, you know. If I'm going to lose with giving everything I got, and if that day that's what I got, then that's what happens, you know. And I hate any position that's stalling, you know. I hate any position that keeps the fight still. I like to put action. Even if I'm 10 points behind, you will not see me like stalling. I will be moving the whole time, and I always like to put on a show. And I think going into the black belt lightweight now, that's what makes me different. And no one's gonna take that away from me.
We're so excited for your debut at Asian and
Yes.
Nationals. It's going to be amazing. One more question for you. I know you have really ambitious goals from a competition perspective. I'm sure you want to win all the major titles.
Yeah.
Do you have any goals in terms of like helping to grow the sport or doing things outside of the competition mats?
Yeah. So I don't want the dream team to be something that like, oh, it happened for that one period of time and now it's over. I want it to keep going. You know, we have a great group of young girls right now, and, you know, I think I need to be their guidance right now, especially as a black belt, now as a professor. You know, I want to be a guidance for the girls here or for the girls that will come, you know. I want to start my own, like, mini dream team with them. I want to show, like, it's worth it. Like, we have to work for what we got. And I've been through their experience. I know what it's like being a kid and competing and just going through all these battles, especially having parents that were your professors, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't have that experience. So I think that I got a lot of what happened throughout my life, and I think I can help lots of girls right now. So that's my goal. And to my mom used to have a huge women's class. My goal is to get the women's class that big again. My mom was a great instructor, a great professor, even with, like, she says she was a boring fighter, but I don't really count it like that. She was really good at what she did. And, you know, even with all the things she had, she was able to inspire, like, a bunch of women. I remember we would take over the big mat, and, like, the guys would all move to the smaller mat. That's how big they were. And I just want to go back to that. And having my mom there guiding me, I know I can make it. Of course, it won't happen overnight, but I'm willing to work on and off the mats because I know titles will come and go. You know, I don't want to be remembered like, oh, she won this many times, or, oh, this happened this many times. I just want to be remembered as someone that made a statement in jiu-jitsu for people to remember, oh, this is Sarah, like, oh, she made women's jiu-jitsu into what it is now, or she started this game that not many girls play and now they're playing. You know, I want to be someone that sets that standard for them and just be remembered like that.
Yeah, you're definitely making a huge impact on women's jiu-jitsu already, so I'm sure it's going to grow even more from here.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Sarah, for your time. Really appreciate it, and
Thank
good luck
you.
with the tournaments coming up.